Let's see. I just didn't want to. Let's see. Okay, are we ready now, computer? Okay. So, what are the rules of engagement? Engagement tonight. Resist. The superior toga attack. He is a loop thing. I get it right. We aren't specifically targeting civilians, but if specifically targeting civilians, but if some end up dead in the crossfire, that's the way it goes. He replied. We're terrorists. There are still lots of civilians around. Killing them is the loss of some. There are lots of civilians still around. Perez wondered why some of his comrades were so hung up on civilians. These bombings that started this caper, they probably killed about 10,000 people, 1,000 people in the city. Very few survivors. And hundreds more were probably maimed in all sense of the word. People had lost their wives and children. Women had lost husbands, daughters, fathers, mothers, wives, and children. I don't sound like Donovan for a second there. Hail Atlantis. In the middle of the ocean, where I wanna be. And children as well. A few people were orphans. Few people were orphans. Most people had loved ones. Whereas understood. Whereas replied. Hopefully the enemy will give us something to attack. The enemy did. Perez and his comrades ran into masses of civilians at first, with lots of including a number of vehicles, civilian vehicles. All were allowed to move unmolested by the Golem Squad, who tried to stop before them, the crowd blocking their path, and then walked on through when the path was clear. Cleared. Brad could see how some people, pilots and golems got a bit of a god complex. It was quite a thing, being so high up, in charge of such great firepower, and below you were all the little humans. Looking like ants. Would have been so easy to stomp on any of them, or just unload with the 80 millimeters. Yeah. Whereas heard of men, pilots in the last war carrying 20 millimeter automatic cannons just for spraying down enemy infantry, as though they weren't worth the 80 millimeters. In Beraz's experience. And then, yeah, check. When we run out of ammo, can that little Russian girl, Belgian girl, just materialize more ammo for us? In front of us? Whereas I had Big Country playing, Big Country by Big Country playing a little earlier, and it was, I keep having that in my head even now for some reason, even though that's the most inappropriate song for this kind of stuff. Let's see, Braz asked. Togi. I don't think so. Togi replied, there are limits to her mental facilities, I believe. Faculties. I believe. Faculties. Is that right? Let's see. Mental faculties. I'll just have to look that up later on Google. Maybe someday they'll be able to do more. I think we'll have to go to some base if we need resupply. And we will, unless we're bugging out of here straight after the fighting. Run out of ammo. Whereas I plan on burning through at least 2 combat loads before I'm willing to call it quits here. You'll go when your superiors tell you to. Togi barked. I will tolerate no insubordination. I'll put you down like any enemy if I have to. Sorry, sir. Won't happen again. Raz replied quickly. It was then the trio were moving down a long street, and they came under attack from a trio of Zedin attack copters. The first enemy resistance they had faced, besides a few useless shots at them by some guys, little riflemen, and somewhere down on the ground. Not worth their trouble. Really. The 3 copters were all armed to the teeth with rocket launchers and Gatling guns, and mounted Gatling guns. They were state-of-the-art. For the Zedins, and they had the element of, and they just seemed to come out of nowhere. rising up abruptly, like they had stepped through some portal. Take cover. Totally ordered. And everyone ducked back. Now the golem, 3 golems ducked back, finding cover behind various buildings. The copter trio fired off their rockets volleys then smashed into those buildings, causing some nasty fire. And some nasty fires to erupt. Maybe a few civilians were caught in the crossfire. The 3 golems then leaned out from cover and opened up. The 80mm rounds crashed into 2 of the copters instantly. Crashed into 2 of the copters, and them to explode vigorously even before they. And then they crashed to the street below, flaming wreckage. Raz couldn't even see any bodies in the wreckage, like they had been dismembered completely. They've been vaporized in the spot. Possibility, the 80mm. He heard that the 80mm rounds, 800mm. Wow. Yeah, 80mm tend to vaporize infantry, and the infantry, when they got hit, even enemy tank men sometimes. Keep up the shells. Keep those shells flying. I totally ordered. Don't want that last bird getting away. The last copter managed spun around and tried to retreat quick as it could. But after almost getting blasted by it and its buddies, Braz and the others, comrades, weren't in the mood for letting him get away. A trio of shells ended that second copter, blowing it up right above some office building's roof, which it crashed onto. Like it had been trying to make some emergency landing, despite being despite burning like the end of a cigarette. Whereas I saw direct hit. Whereas muttered. The shrapnel rounds are a better bet for air units like that. Charlie muttered. Kind of a small target. Excuse me, folks. Someone's calling me. I'll be back in a moment. Let's see. Small target. Kind of a small target. Let's see. Let's see, bear. Yeah. So are tanks. As muttered. Aces in the last war. No issue. Blasting them to pieces. Gave them something to do. Or fighting enemy golems. Togi had. There were no enemy golems at the start of the war. Tim said back in the 1 month war. So all the guys had to fight were tanks and other armored vehicles. Must have been kind of boring. Boring and safe are not bad things, Togi protested. If I wanted boring and safe, I wouldn't be here, Zim retorted. Retorted the tortoise. Months later, the squad got orders too. The Golem squad got orders to provide help to some Jade troops. Groups pinned down in front of in the courtyard of an office building. The enemy were held up, or scattered through the office building and had the high ground, explaining how the infantry troops got pinned in place. Let's see. Things made it away. They were other enemy forces, including tanks, were en route. The Golem team were confident they could handle anything there without needing backup. Even if a few enemy golems showed up. Let's go. Let's go, boys. Togi ordered. 2 minutes later, they were at the scene. The enemy office building seemed occupied through all 5 floors, especially the upper ones. The concrete courtyard where those Jade troops were pinned down lacked good cover. Most of the troops were just huddled, burnt prone in the open, trying to avoid gunfire, with no way to avoid incoming fire. All they could do was return fire and hope to drive the enemy into cover, judging by the number of bodies oozing blood through the courtyard. The tactic wasn't working. Togi lobbed... Did I call him Togo at one point? Not Togo, or Tojo, the Japanese Prime Minister from World War II. Togi readied a smoke shell for his 80mm and fired 2 of them. And fired one toward the center of the courtyard. Getting hit by such a shell was likely fatal. Would be fatal to anyone who wasn't some kind of demigod. But the shell landed among a bunch of people, men who were already dead. If it crushed one, he already had enough problems. The smoke began billowing quickly, and that gave the men some cover. Togi concentrated his shells on the second upper floors of the office building, blowing up multiple rooms facing the courtyard. Broken glass showered in all directions. Many bodies went flying out as well. There was soon a raging fire spreading through the interior, through multiple floors. Togi was glad he wasn't in there, dodging that fire. Don't shoot, boys, Togi ordered. We don't want to accidentally bring down that damn building. On that damn building. Right, sir, Ben replied. Incoming tanks. Tanks on the north flank. The right side of the building. Sim reported. He called Sin. Okay, on that note, let's go. See you later, folks.